Our top focus as of now. Let's tell you what's happening in Switzerland now. Climate change, of course, is a major global challenge today. In a bid to address this concern, countries are seeking greener solutions for lowering greenhouse gas emissions. And one of the green options being pursued currently is electric vehicles. Scores of nations are encouraging their citizens to go in for electric vehicles and move away from conventional vehicles that run on petrol or diesel. Besides this, even car manufacturers, be it Tesla or Tata Motors, are expanding their production lines to manufacture EVs. And as the world works towards a greener future, there is some shocking news coming in from Switzerland. There are reports that Switzerland is planning to ban electric vehicles this winter. Government officials begin to prepare for an energy crisis in the coming winter months. According to reports, Switzerland has now drafted a proposal that would restrict the power usage to prevent blackouts and power cuts. And if this happens, then Switzerland would become the first country to do so. You see, Switzerland is heavily dependent on hydropower for meeting its energy requirements. About 60% of the country's electricity comes from hydropower. However, production slows down during winter. Switzerland also imports electricity from neighboring France and Germany, both of which are now facing an energy crisis, like the rest of Europe, due to, of course, the war in Ukraine. Moreover, Russia's invasion of Ukraine has prompted countries in Europe, which were already highly dependent on Russian deliveries, to diversify their supplies. Switzerland is thus preparing for a possible blackout. Under the new proposal, the country plans to restrict energy usage in buildings and maybe even ban concerts, theatre performances and sporting events. If the situation worsens, Switzerland wants to limit the use of electric vehicles to only essential trips. And for more on this story, we are now being joined by Yehor Breilen from the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. Yehor is a journalist as well as a climate expert. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hello.
Right, my first question now, electric vehicles are used or looked upon as a greener option, especially when we talk about the fight against climate change. Now with Switzerland proposing to ban EVs altogether in a bid to save energy, will the rest of the world, or rather rest of Europe, follow suit?
I don't know for sure, but what I know is that the Russian full-scale invasion of Ukraine has changed the whole energy system in the whole world. And what we saw is more attention to renewables and at the same time trying to make energy system more diversified. When there is nuclear energy, there are fossil fuels and there are renewables, there are LNG, and maybe Switzerland will be an example for other countries to ban electricity or to save it at least.
Right, but if this does go through, my question exactly is that what will happen to the popularity of electric vehicles in several locations across Europe? As we understand, different manufacturers, different countries want to make them the norm, not the exception. So will a move like this from Switzerland deter other countries in Europe to also take up similar actions?
Well, when we speak about, for example, Germany, it will affect a lot, and this country is trying to use less fossil fuels, but at the same time not to forget about electric vehicles. And so when we speak about Great Britain, they want to also become not importer of energy, but rather exporter of energy. And this decision will affect only those countries which depends a lot on electric vehicles. And not so many European countries, they are moving to this trend to use more electric vehicles, not to do harm to the nature.
Right. Right. Thank you so much for all those inputs, and thanks for joining us on the broadcast at this hour.
Thank you.